Have you ever had someone call the police on you over something completely ridiculous? Because that's exactly what happened to me last winter. And the funniest part, the person who called the cops had no idea who was actually going to show up. It all started on a freezing morning just outside town. The temperature had dropped overnight, snow covered the roads, and most people were trying to stay inside where it was warm. I had just opened the small gas station I own on the edge of town. It's not a huge place, just a few pumps, a small store, and a repair garage in the back. My family has owned it for years, and most of the locals stop by regularly. Around mid-morning, a black SUV pulled into the station. The driver parked right next to the pump but didn't get out. Instead, she sat there honking the horn repeatedly. That was the first sign something strange was about to happen, so I walked outside to see what she needed. The window rolled down and a woman leaned out looking irritated. She introduced herself as Linda, but before the conversation ended, I'd learned everyone in her neighborhood called her Karen. She immediately started complaining about the price on the pump. According to her, the residents in her neighborhood deserved a discount. I politely explained that gas prices were set by our supplier and were the same for everyone. Karen didn't like that answer. She crossed her arms and said something that honestly caught me off guard. She said the HOA community nearby had an agreement with local businesses for special treatment, free services, priority assistance, discounted fuel. I had lived in that town for years and had never heard anything like that, so I calmly told her the same thing. There was no agreement with my station, and if she wanted gas, she'd have to pay the same price as everyone else. That's when the situation escalated. Karen stepped out of her SUV and started raising her voice. She said the HOA president had the authority to demand cooperation from local businesses. Then she proudly told me something that explained everything. She was the HOA president. Apparently she had gotten used to people giving her what she wanted, but I wasn't one of those people. I simply told her again, gas costs money. If she wanted fuel, she could pay for it like everyone else. Karen's face turned red instantly. She accused me of disrespecting the community. Then she said something that made several customers nearby stop and listen. She said if I didn't cooperate, she would call the police. At that point, I honestly thought she was joking, but Karen pulled out her phone and dialed anyway. Standing right there next to the pump, she loudly explained to the dispatcher that a local business owner was refusing to help a stranded driver, which wasn't true at all. Her tank wasn't empty, she simply didn't want to pay. A few minutes later, a patrol car pulled into the gas station. Karen looked very satisfied as the officer stepped out. She immediately walked over and began telling her version of the story. According to her, I had refused emergency assistance and was violating community agreements. The officer listened patiently. Then he turned toward me. The moment he saw me, his expression changed slightly, because the officer knew exactly who I was. After all, I was his boss. You see, besides owning the gas station, I also serve as the police chief of the town. The station is mostly a family business I run on the side, but Karen didn't know that, and neither did the dispatcher when she made the call. The officer greeted me respectfully and asked what was going on. I explained the situation calmly. Karen demanded free gas. I refused. She called the police. The officer tried very hard not to smile. Karen, however, was still completely confident. She pointed at me and said I should be fined for refusing assistance. That's when the officer asked her a simple question. "Ma'am, do you know who you're speaking to?" Karen said she didn't care who I was. Then the officer explained it slowly, very clearly. He told her that I was the chief of police for the entire town. The silence that followed was incredible. Karen's expression changed immediately. Her confidence disappeared, and suddenly she seemed much less interested in arguing. The officer reminded her that calling emergency services for a non-emergency situation could be considered misuse of police resources. Karen quickly changed her tone. She said it had all been a misunderstanding. Then she quietly paid for her gas. No more shouting, no more demands, just a very quick transaction. A few minutes later she drove away without another word. The customers who had witnessed everything couldn't stop laughing. One of them even joked that it might be the first time someone called the police, and regretted it the moment they arrived. After that day, Karen never caused trouble at the gas station again, and as far as I know, she stopped trying to demand special treatment from other local businesses too, because sometimes the person you're threatening to call the police on is the one who runs the department. If you watched this story all the way to the end, leave a comment and tell me, which city and country are you watching from? And if you enjoy HOA drama stories like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story.